1A version me, one of the things we don't talk about enough is how much men carry behind the scenes. We've been taught to think that men are these unshakable pillars, always strong, always in control, never needing anyone to lean on. And maybe that's why so many people miss this truth, that one of the deepest things a man desires, but rarely ever admits, is a sense of emotional safety. I'm not talking about safety in the sense of he's physically protected or his job is secure. I mean, the kind of safety where he can drop every performance, tappy version of me, take off the armor and not feel like it's going to be used against him later. Most men spend their lives being told to man up, keep it together, don't be too sensitive. And they learn quickly that the world doesn't have much tolerance for their vulnerability. Happy version of me. But here's the thing, just because they've learned to hide it doesn't mean they don't feel it. In fact, version of me, it's often the opposite. That desire to be understood without being judged burns quietly in the background. He might not even realize how badly he wants it until someone gives it to him. Imagine a man who's had a long day, version of me, full of pressures he hasn't told you about because he's not sure how to put them into words. Now imagine him sitting with you, version of me, and for the first time in a long, he's not feeling the need to impress you, to keep his guard up, to be the rock you expect him to be. Instead, he can just you be. No fear that you'll see him differently. No P version of me. No worry that you'll question his strength. That moment, that quiet, unspoken permission to let his walls down is one of the most intoxicating feelings for a man. And it's rare. But here's the problem, most men won't ask for it. Version of me. They're conditioned to believe that asking for emotional safety is the same as admitting weakness. Version of me. So they'll chase it in indirect ways, through the people they choose to be around, through the energy they gravitate toward. Happy version of me. Through the relationships where they feel less like they're being tested and more like they're being accepted. And when they find it, they version of me. They hold on to it. Now, you might think emotional safety is just about listening to his problems or telling him it's okay to open up. Happy version of me. But it's more than that. It's in the way you respond when he does share something vulnerable. Do you meet it with empathy or do you try to fix it too quickly? Do you make him feel like his feelings are valid, happy version of me? Or do you brush them aside because they don't fit the image you have of him? Those subtle reactions can either build trust or shut him down completely. When a man feels emotionally safe with someone, it changes the entire dynamic. He's more affectionate, more open, more willing to share his inner world. That's version of, and that's not just good for him. It's good for the relationship. Happy version of me, because when he knows he's not going to be shamed for having emotions, he's far less likely to hide parts of himself from you. He doesn't need to seek escape or relief elsewhere because he's already getting the one thing he can just anywhere. A partner who can hold space for the human behind the role he plays every day. It's easy to underestimate how powerful that is, but think about its strength. Without a safe place to rest becomes exhaustion. Confidence without a safe place to be uncertain becomes pressure. Love without a safe place to be raw becomes performance. When you give a man emotional safety, version of me, you're not just giving him comfort, you're giving him the ability to show up more fully in every other part of his life. Version of me. And here's the part most people don't realize: when he feels safe, he's not just going to let his guard down. He's going to be version of me. He's going to let you in. He'll start sharing things he's never told anyone. He'll trust you with the sides of him that even he's not entirely sure about. That's not weakness. That's intimacy. Happy version of me. And it's the very thing he's been quietly craving all along, even if he'd never say it out loud. If there's one thing that often gets overlooked in understanding men, it's this: love is beautiful. Yes, happy version of me. But admiration is what lights a man up from the inside. You can tell a man you love him every single day, and he'll appreciate it But when you tell him you admire him, when you make feel like he's someone worth looking up to, it hits him in a way nothing else can. Version of me. It's not about feeding an ego. It's about feeding the part of him that wants to feel like he's enough in your eyes. You see, men grow up in a world where their worth is often tied to achievement. From a young age, version of me, they're praised when they do something impressive, when they win, when they perform. But deep down, version of me, what they long for isn't just recognition for the big victories. It's to feel admired for who they are, version of me, not just for what they accomplish. That's why when admiration comes from someone they deeply care about, it's so much more powerful. It's easy to assume that once you're in a relationship, he should just know you admire him. But men, just like women, need version of me, need reminders. They need those small, genuine acknowledgements that say, I see you. I see the effort you put in. I see the way you carry yourself, and I'm proud to be with you. When those moments are absent, he may still know you love him, happy version of me, but he can start to feel invisible in the very place where he should feel the most seen. Admiration doesn't mean worshipping him or pretending he's perfect. In fact, it's most powerful when it's specific and real. Might be version of me. It might be noticing the way he handled a difficult situation with grace. It might be appreciating his work ethic, version of me, or the way he protects the people he cares about, or even the fact that he stays true to his word. These aren't just compliments. They're reflections of how you view his character. And for a man, that kind of validation sticks. What's interesting is that many men won't come out and say, I want you to admire me. It feels too vulnerable, too close to revealing that they need your approval. So instead, they'll chase that feeling through actions, working harder, trying to be more impressive, sometimes even competing with their own past selves. When admiration is missing, he may start to feel like no matter what he does, it's never enough. And that can slowly drain the energy out of the relationship. On the flip side, when a man feels admired, it doesn't just make him feel good. It makes him want to show up more for you. Version of me, he'll put in more effort, not because you demanded it, but because your admiration fuels him. Version of me, it tells him that what he does matters to you. And when he feels that he's more likely to go the extra mile, more likely to open up, more likely to invest himself fully. There's a reason why admiration often sits at the heart of long-lasting attraction. It's not about looks, status, or even how romantic someone is. It's about respect. When a man feels respected and valued for who he is, attraction becomes something much deeper than physical chemistry. Happy version of me. It turns into a bond where he doesn't just want to be with you. He wants to live up to the version of himself that you see. At the end of the day, love tells a man, you have my heart, but admiration tells him, you have my respect. And for many men, version of me, that's the hidden desire they rarely put into words, but feel in every part of their being. Version of me, there's a quiet fear that lives in the back of many men's minds. The fear of becoming invisible in the very relationship they once fought to win. In the early days, when everything is new, he feels chosen every time you laugh at his jokes, every time you lean in to listen, every time your eyes light up when he walks into the room. But as time goes on, routines form, responsibilities grow, those small signals can fade. It's not that love disappears, it's that the feeling of being actively chosen starts to get lost in the noise. And for a man, that's a deeper loss than most people realize. You see, men don't just want to be loved by default. The version of me, they don't want to feel like they're there simply because time has passed and the relationship has momentum. They want to know deep down that if you met them all over again today, with the same options in front of you, you would still pick them. That sense of being deliberately, consciously chosen is something that fills a man with energy, confidence, and purpose. A version of me. When that feeling is missing, a man might not say it out loud, but he'll start searching for it in subtle ways. He might put more effort into how he looks, try harder at work, or even distance himself emotionally. Happy version of me, hoping you'll notice and remind him he matters. Not because he's insecure in a shallow sense, but because he's human. Just lappy version of me. Just like anyone else, he needs to feel that he's more than just part of the furniture in your life. Choosing him over and over doesn't always mean grand gestures. It's in the little things. How you greet him at the end of the day, happy version of me. How you acknowledge his efforts, how you still give him your full attention when he talks about something important to him. P version of me. It's in the way you occasionally surprise him, not because it's his birthday or an anniversary, but because you still want to light him up the way you did in the beginning. Those moments send a powerful message. Happy version of me. I don't just love you because you're here. Happy version of me. I love you because I want you here. And here's the interesting thing. When a man feels chosen, it changes the way he shows up for you. He becomes more present, more affectionate, more willing to invest himself in the relationship. Happy version of me. He doesn't feel like he has to prove his worth every single day because your actions already tell him he's enough. Son of me. That sense of security frees him to focus on giving rather than constantly wondering if he's slowly fading into the background. This isn't about feeding his ego. It's about sustaining connection. Just like a flame needs oxygen to keep burning, a man's devotion thrives on knowing he's still the one you want, not just the one you have. Without that version of me, even the strongest relationships can start to feel stale, not because the love is gone, because the feeling of pursuit has disappeared. The truth is, men may not admit how much they crave this version of me. They'll often downplay it, acting like they're fine as long as things are good enough. But underneath, happy version of me, they're paying attention to whether your eyes still light up when you look at them. Happy version of me, whether you still see them as the person you couldn't wait to be with. When you make him feel chosen, MP version of me, you're not just giving him reassurance, you're reigniting the very energy that brought you together in the first place. Because in the end, being loved is beautiful. But being chosen deliberately, consistently, version of me, and enthusiastically, that's what makes a man feel truly alive in a relationship. One thing most people don't realize about men is how deeply they tie their sense of fulfillment to having a purpose in a relationship. It's not enough for a man to simply be there. He wants to feel that his presence has weight, that what he brings is valuable version of me, that he's making a difference in your life. This isn't about outdated ideas of gender roles or needing to be the sole provider version of me. It's about something much more human, the desire to contribute meaningfully to the person he loves. For many men, purpose is tied to action. They express their love not just in words, but in what they do. Fixing things, solving problems, protecting, providing support, making plans. And while those actions may seem small or routine, they carry an emotional undercurrent. I'm here and I matter. When those efforts are noticed and appreciated, it fuels him. But when they go unnoticed or are taken for granted, it can slowly chip away at his sense of worth in the relationship. This is why some men start to quietly pull back when they feel like what they do doesn't make a difference. Version of me. It's not because they care less, but because they feel less needed. And for a man, feeling unnecessary is one of the fastest ways to lose motivation in love. Version of me. Purpose isn't just about being physically present. It's about knowing that his actions contribute to your happiness, your sense of security, and the life you're building together. This purpose shows up in obvious ways. Version of me, like working hard to provide, planning experiences you'll both enjoy, or taking care of things so you don't have to. Version of me, Other times it's more subtle, listening when you've had a bad day, offering solutions when you want them, stepping in to support you without being asked. When a man feels his contributions, big or small, are meaningful to you, he feels a deep sense of pride and connection. The challenge is that men often won't articulate this need. They won't sit you down and say, "I need to feel like I'm making a difference in your life." Instead, they'll keep giving, hoping you notice. They'll measure your appreciation in how you respond, not in whether you say, "Thank you, once version of me," but in whether you value the role they play in your life. That's why even a simple acknowledgement, "Happy version of me," a genuine, "I love how you take care of this for us," can carry more weight than you realize. When a man feels a sense of purpose in the relationship, something shifts. He becomes more engaged, more invested version of me, more willing to go above and beyond, not out of obligation, but out of pride. He's not just showing up because he's supposed to version of me, but because he wants to, because he sees the difference he's making and it inspires him to give even more. On the other hand, when that sense of purpose fades, relationships can fall into autopilot. He might still be there physically, but emotionally, he's coasting. Not because he doesn't care, happy version of me, but because it's hard to pour energy into a space where you're not sure your energy matters. Happy version of me. That's why one of the greatest gifts you give a man is the recognition that he plays an irreplaceable role in your life. Not just telling him you love him, but showing him you value what he does, who he is, and how he shows up for you. When you do that, version of me, you're not just meeting a hidden desire. You're giving him a reason to keep choosing you with the same enthusiasm he had in the beginning. Because love might bring two people together, but purpose is what keeps a man deeply rooted in the relationship, feeling proud to be the one by your side. Version of me. One of the most misunderstood desires men have is the longing to be needed, but in a way that feels empowering, not suffocating. At first glance, it might sound contradictory. People often assume men want total independence or complete control, but the truth is far more nuanced. A man loves to feel like he plays an essential role in your life, that you can rely on him, that he's someone you trust to step in when you need him. But he also wants the freedom to offer that support from a place of choice, not obligation. When a man feels needed in the right way, it fuels his sense of purpose and deepens his connection to you. It tells him, the version of me. You make my life better, and I value what you bring. It's not about you being helpless or dependent. In fact, the opposite is often true. Men are often most drawn to strong, capable partners who could technically handle things themselves, but who choose to lean on them anyway. That choice is what makes it powerful. Being needed taps into a man's natural instinct to protect, provide, and support version of me. But here's the key. When that need starts to feel like control or constant pressure, it stops feeling like love and starts feeling like a burden. A man wants to help because it's an expression of his care, not because he feels he'll be punished emotionally if he doesn't. When he's constantly micromanaged, criticized, or mappy version of me, or made to feel like nothing he does is quite right, that desire to be there can quickly fade. The balance lies in showing him that his contributions matter while also respecting his autonomy. For example, version of me asking for his help with something and then genuinely appreciating it when he delivers, even if it's not exactly how you would have done it. Or letting him take the lead on certain things without second-guessing every step. Those moments tell him, I trust you, I value your role, version of me, and I'm glad you're here. It's also about recognizing that men often express love through actions rather than words. If he steps in to fix something, plans a solution to a problem, or offers to take on a responsibility to make your life easier, that's his way of saying, I've got you. When you acknowledge that without turning it into a transaction, without making it seem like he owes you or you owe him, it keeps the exchange rooted in love, instead of expectation. On the version of me, on the other hand, if he feels that no matter what he does, it's never enough, or if his efforts are constantly overshadowed by criticism, version of me, the desire to step up can turn into withdrawal. He'll start doing less, not because he doesn't care, but because it hurts to try and feel unappreciated or over-controlled. That's why appreciation is so powerful. It encourages him to keep showing up. Happy version of me. The irony is that the men who are most reliable often receive the least acknowledgement, simply because people get used to them being that way. But when you take the time to remind him, and me, I love that I can count on you, or you make my life so much easier, it reignites that quiet pride he feels in being your partner. And that's the kind of fuel that keeps him engaged, committed, and eager to contribute. In the end, happy version of me. Being needed without being controlled is about choice. It's about giving him space to step into his role willingly, knowing it's appreciated. When a man feels that balance, he doesn't just stick around. He thrives in the relationship. Happy version of me. Because he knows he's not there because he has to be, but because he's wanted there. And that makes all the difference. No version of, no matter how much responsibility a man carries, how serious his role in life may be, there's always a part of him that craves a sense of lightness. Version of me. It's not about escaping his responsibilities or pretending life isn't challenging. It's about having moments where the weight lifts. Version of me, where he can breathe, laugh, and feel alive without everything needing to be so heavy. One of the hidden desires men rarely put into words is the longing for a partner who can spark that playfulness in him. Version of me, who can remind him that love isn't just about surviving life together, but actually we enjoying it. When a relationship begins, playfulness tends to come effortlessly. You tease each other, laugh over small things, turn even ordinary moments into something special. Those moments are magnetic. They make you both want to be around each other even more. But as life fills up with routines, deadlines, responsibilities, it's easy for that side of the relationship to fade. For a man, that shift can feel subtle at first, but over time, it changes how connected he feels. Without those lighter moments, the relationship can begin to feel purely functional. Version of me, as if it's all about what needs to be done rather than why you love being together in the first place. Playfulness doesn't mean being careless or avoiding serious matters. In fact, happy version of me, the most meaningful relationships balance the serious with the light. It's about knowing when to break tension with a joke. P version of me, when to surprise him with something spontaneous, when to lean into the kind of banter that reminds you both you're still lovers, not just partners handling life's logistics. Those moments don't erase the hard parts of life, but they make them easier to face. For many men, the world outside the relationship demands a lot of composure and focus. At work, they're expected to be in control. Public, they're expected to be composed. Even among friends, there can be an unspoken pressure to project a certain image. But P version me, with the person they love, they want to feel the opposite. The freedom to relax, to laugh, to act a little ridiculous without fear of judgment. That freedom is rare version of, and it's one of the reasons playfulness matters so much more than it might seem on the surface. The version of me. The danger is when that playfulness disappears entirely. When every conversation becomes a to-do list, when every interaction revolves around responsibilities or problems, it can slowly drain the emotional oxygen out of the relationship. Happy version of me. He might not how to articulate it, but he'll feel it. That longing for the easy joy you once shared. That's why intentionally bringing lightness back isn't just a nice to have. It's essential if you want the connection to keep feeling alive. dozen version of me. It doesn't take grand gestures to make it happen. Sometimes it's as small as sending him a playful message in the middle of his day. Version of me. Creating an inside joke that's just yours, or dancing in the kitchen for no reason. It might be challenging him to a game. Version of me. Planning something unexpected, or even playfully challenging his opinion in a way that makes him laugh instead of defend. These little sparks say, not just partners in responsibility, we're partners in joy. When a man has that with you, version of me, it changes the way he shows up. He'll want to be around you more, he'll open up more easily, happy version of me, and he'll invest more into the relationship because it's not just a source of stability. It's also a source of happiness. You become the person who brings not only comfort, but also the reminder that even in the middle of life's seriousness, love can be fun. A version of me. And that's the thing. Playfulness isn't shallow, and it's not optional. Version of me. It's one of the deepest ways to keep a relationship feeling alive. For a man, happy version of me, it's a reminder that no matter how much life demands of him, he still has a space where he can be free, version of me, where he can laugh without thinking, and where he can feel not just love, but truly alive. That's a desire he might never say out loud, but one he'll hold on to fiercely when he finds it.